Now let me say a word about the Voynich Manuscript, which is my next hobby of how to decipher all of this strange languages on here. The Voynich, by carbon dating, was found in Europe. It was named after a curator of the 1900s. No one knows what the language is, who made it. The book it came from is probably about, it's 6 by 9, let me see if I can do this. It's about 6 by 9 inches. It's a really small book. Now these pictures come from, I believe, the Harvard library, where the book is stored, and they have nicely uploaded all of the pages, and so I can put them in high definition to look at them. And I wanted to let you know about my progress so far. I have deciphered 3 different symbols into English, because I believe that it is a written language. But if it is a written language, then it has to have rules. And what I've done is I've taken my theory of a symbol and I've said, okay, I'm going to go through all these lines that I can and say to myself, all right, does this symbol hold true if I transfer it to English? Now that could be, if all these repeating symbols, and there's only like 8 or 9 of them, they repeat over and over and over again in, I don't know, thousands of letters. But if the language holds true, which I believe it does, then I can decipher it, I think. Now, I'm not going to come up with some bullshit vague theories and this and that and this and that. I'm going to keep track of everything that I do on the Voynich, and if I do decipher it, which I hope to do, then I'll post my complete work, because I want to get full credit for it if I decipher it. You know, if someone else deciphers it, hey, you know, God bless you, but you steal my work and I'll be really pissed off. So that's where we are so far. Now, due to a recent electron microscope analysis of the pages, what they found is, this is really interesting. Now, a few of the inks, they've said this manuscript is from the early 1400s from Europe, but the inks that they had back then were just a very few. The electron analysis says that they can decipher a few of the inks, but a few of the colors, they say apparently it's gum, apparently it's this, apparently it's that. What it means is a few of these inks they're fucking unknown, all right? Which means they're not from here. I believe this is an alien language written by people or things or whatever, that it's written in a right hand. It's written by something with spatial reasoning. It has 2 eyes in the front of its head, very small hands. There are pictures accompanying with the script on top or bottom. The script is done very well. There is hardly any mistakes. So I think that the Voynich is a copy. And what I mean by a copy is, I believe that this book was it's like it was designed to be there was a master book, and then they made copies of the finished product to hand out. I believe this is a copy because there isn't any mistakes. It doesn't look like it was done along the way. And to determine a language, first of all, a language has got to have rules. It has to have punctuation. It has to have some kind of rules so that another being or another person or another entity that knows the rules can understand it. If that were not to hold true, then the rest of it is just gibberish. And I believe this is not gibberish. Now, what it says, I don't know. But just in deciphering that it is a language and that some of my language rules and theories hold true with 99% of all of the script, leads me to believe that it's not just a bunch of baseless writing. I don't know who did it. Like this book is basically 5 or 6 or 7 diagrams of the Voynich language, and then it has the rest of it is just what famous people they think did it. Of course, it wouldn't sound too good if, Joe the castle cleaner in 1522 did it, rather than Thomas Bacon or John Dee, famous astrologer. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to line up either colors from the diagrams, the number of people or women in the diagrams. I've tried to decipher names, if there is names. Now, what I've found out is that this language is similar to ours, but not similar. In other words, as an English speaker, okay, you could do it French, whatever you want to do it in, but like the Rosetta Stone that was found, it was written in Coptic, ancient hieroglyphs, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and in Greek. And this Frenchman was the one to crack the code, and he first found the name Cleopatra written in Greek and in ancient hieroglyphs, and that opened the whole thing. But we look at this writing, say as an English speaker, and I want to try and say, okay, I'm just going to substitute our words and pronouns and nouns and verbs and predicates into everything and wonder why it won't work. Well, we have to remember that whoever wrote this had no idea about English. What they did have is it's in book form. It's written to convey a message or convey knowledge to someone or something. It's also written with pictures like we would do. But the one thing I will say is that if it is a language, it needs pronunciation. It needs commas and periods and starts and stops and things like that. And what I've found is I've found all those things. But they're not like our English. Therefore, it's hard for me to wrap my head around it. Anyway, that's where I am so far, and I hope to decipher the Voynich as a hobby in between my painting and my DO work. And, maybe there's some Peace Prize in it, or I hope MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, will give me a baseball cap. Because I dedicate all my deciphering to them. Because those guys are so smart. I really like that school. But we have the same amount of characters that are repeated over and over again. There is no periods or commas or any kind of sentence structure that we have. But the thing is, it is all there. Now I just have to wrap my head around the person or whatever that did this and see what they see. Anyway, I just wanted to post an update on that. And I have found 3 of the symbols that match English. And they match an English sentence structure so far. But I won't say a word. You'll see the video when and if I do decipher it. It hasn't been deciphered for 700 years. So hopefully it can be deciphered, because it's really a neat mystery. And anyone that has never seen the Voynich Manuscript, it's really neat to check out online, because it looks so much like English, so much like writing, but it's not, and no one's been able to figure anything out about it besides me. Now back to painting.